Greetings, beautiful earthlings. My name is Star. If you are new here, I don't know how you found me, but I'm super grateful to have you. And if you're returning, y'all the real MVP, you already know. I know it's not my normal background. I know it's a terrible background. I was already sitting in this chair playing on the computer, and I figured why not just talk at you guys for a little bit because I haven't done a Cozy Corner video in a while. So, what I wanted to talk to you guys about today is something along the lines of tarot obsession. So, what I mean by this, if you guys are brand new to tarot, first of all, don't freak out, okay? This is not a fear-mongering video in any way, and it has nothing to do with like religion, right? Okay, I want you guys to understand I am a tarot reader. This is a tarot channel, it's a safe space, okay? So I'm not trying to like scare you guys about reading tarot or anything. So what I mean about tarot obsession is, quite frankly, the idea that once you start reading tarot, you can't really stop. And I don't mean like the tarot egregore itself is going to come get you. It's a big scary monster. What I mean is sometimes beginners especially, and I'm not trying to make this sound negative. I mean beginners especially because we don't have that self-control quite yet, right? But beginners are more susceptible to it. I've noticed that when you start asking questions and you start getting answers and we get stuck in this loop of, I don't like that answer, I want a different one. Or, wow, that was actually accurate, I want more. So this is something that I know a lot of tarot readers know about really well. As someone who is constantly studying tarot, I also fall victim to this myself because I do a lot of things for beginners because I believe in walking the walk on my channel. So when it comes to finding things for beginners, I feel like it's my duty to do it myself, to delve into these things so that I can tell you from experience what it is I'm talking about. So I'm constantly ingesting tarot content, whether that be tarot readers, tarot reviews, what have you. I'm always looking into new decks, new tarot books, new tarot art, indie tarot projects, things like that. Even the history of tarot. You guys know I have been stuck in this online course about advanced tarot for a while, and I feel like I have to study things to kind of catch up with that course, and it just becomes a big snowball effect. The more you read into it, the more you have to keep reading into it, right? I don't mean about the tarot obsession as in, fear of the unknown, looking into the esoterica and trying to, grasp the ungraspable. That's not what I'm talking about. In this specific instance, a lot of tarot readers on YouTube will tell you guys that if you are watching too many tarot readings, you should probably take a break. Because a lot of people, as viewers, as consumers, you will get a little bit obsessed with wanting the correct answer or wanting the answer that you want, or, wanting to hear what you want to hear, right? It's human nature, especially like people ask questions to people specifically because they know the answer they want to hear and they're just going to keep fishing until they get it. So that's kind of an issue when it comes to watching tarot videos on YouTube. It's too easy, right? It's too easy to go click another one and then click another one and then click another one, and then you like that reader, so you want to binge all their content like we do with everything else, with shows, with movies, right? Then you want to go find another reader. Maybe you'll like another reader more. Maybe another reader will resonate with you better, and then you like their stuff and you want to binge their stuff, right? And it just begins to feed itself. And like I said, it turns into this big snowball, and the more you ingest, the more you have to ingest. So whether you are on the consumer end or you're on the reader end, I feel we are all susceptible to the obsession of tarot. Again, for argument's sake, we can argue this about everything, okay? But because this is a tarot channel, we're going to talk specifically about tarot obsession, okay? So I noticed this because this is the first time in a very long time I've taken a break from watching tarot readings. And I don't watch tarot readings for the sake of getting my own reading. I watch tarot readings because I really like hearing how other readers interpret the cards. I feel like I learn a lot more by just casually listening to how people interpret their cards, because at a certain point in your tarot career, if you're becoming a reader, right? If you're on the track to becoming a reader, at a certain point, you're gonna feel like you hit a wall and you know as much as you can know. Although that's not true, it feels that way. It feels like the more you keep digging, you're just coming up with the same thing over and over. There's so many books you can read, there's so many videos you can watch, and you're still gonna keep coming up with the same thing over and over, and it gets irritating to keep hearing the same thing over and over. That's why I started watching so many tarot readings, is because I wanted to see how other readers interpret their cards casually in a normal reading, right? I love watching back my own readings too, because sometimes I'm surprised to see how I interpret cards in an actual reading setting as opposed to a teaching setting. So it's just kind of like this never-ending thing that just keeps feeding itself, right? But what I really like about thinking about this topic specifically is that this kind of ties in together. I'm sorry, I know I'm all over the place. This isn't scripted or anything. I just wanted to talk. But when it comes to tarot obsession, I like to also talk about tarot questions, because when you are forming a question in such a manner, you won't get the either correct answer or the answer that you want, right? The answer you're looking for. And that's not the point of tarot. Again, a lot of beginners fall susceptible to this because they don't realize it's not about getting the answer you want or getting the card you want. It's about getting the guidance you need from your guides. Again, not all people read with a team. Not all people read with the idea of connecting with their guides and, deities, ancestors, what have you. They just read from the point of view of, I'm playing with cards as a beginner, right? So a lot of people will ask a lot of really inappropriate questions as a beginner, specifically because it gets to your head a little bit about, what can I know? The issue of tarot spying is always one that I'm up to talk about, always, because a lot of beginners think that tarot is about reading the future or seeing into somebody else's life, right? And a lot of people will be like, is he cheating on me? Did he go to the movies with that girl last week? Things like that. And when I first started on my channel, I used to tell people this all the time: stop stressing out your deck with stupid questions, right? Especially when it comes to something so easily ungraspable, such as something like, did he cheat on me, right? You're never gonna know. You're never gonna know, to be honest. Unless you actually confront the person or you actually catch them in an act, you're not gonna know. And no amount of asking your deck or asking multiple decks or throwing bones or reading stones or runes or whatever, no amount of divination is going to help you know the right answer, right? As a beginner, I'm going to preface that. I know that a couple experienced people are going to be like, as a beginner, all right? Remember, this is a beginner-focused channel, and we're trying to guide the beginners in the right direction here. But I used to tell people that all the time: stop stressing your deck out with stupid questions, right? Go cleanse your deck, go set it on a windowsill with a stick of selenite and leave it alone for a week and let it charge. But now, a couple more years into my tarot journey, and I feel like my opinion on the matter has changed a little bit, because I used to always feel like I was restricted from certain access as a tarot reader. So I never personally used to ask my deck questions about myself. And because I started with that type of mentality, still to this day, I don't ask my deck questions about myself. I don't ask my deck questions about other people, about spying, things like that. Did they do this to me? Are they thinking this about me? Things like that. I don't ask. Because for one, you don't know who you're asking sometimes, and you don't know what answers are going to come out. You don't know, especially if you work with Loki or some kind of, trickster god or something like that. You never know. Like, Loki has done that time and time again, where he'll give me a sideways answer just to fuck with me, right? So that's kind of a thing where I've stopped asking certain questions in certain ways for certain situations because I know I might not entirely be able to trust the answer. But as a reader specifically, I never felt like I was allowed to ask my deck questions about myself, which again, now I know is completely ridiculous, and I'm still trying to get used to actually asking my deck about myself, because I used to just take whatever my deck would give me as guidance at face value without asking questions, right? Or I would do the old basic, what's my guidance for today? What's my card of the day? What advice do I need today? Things like that, right? But there's only so many times you can ask that before you start getting bored, or you start trying to figure out what else can I ask, or what else can I do? What else am I allowed to do? And a lot of tarot readers that have been experienced may also be able to attest to this, that there are some things we are not allowed to know. As spiritualists, as mediums, as, spirit workers, there are some things we are not allowed to know, and you will hit a wall in a tarot reading, in a divination reading of any sort. At any point in time, you will hit a wall because there are things you're not allowed to know. There are things which you are reading about which could influence either your decision or your client's decision, and it will change something. And that's why you're not allowed to ask a specific question. You're not allowed to know the answer, because it will invariably affect something in a way that it would not have otherwise, right? So this is such a fun thing to think about, such a fun thing to talk about. I think about it all the time to myself, and the reason that I've never made a video about it is because I don't know how to. You can see me still, I'm struggling to even find a set point of script here, because there's so many things that go along with the idea of tarot obsession. So many things, all encompassing. I feel like tarot obsession could be like a whole series in and of itself, because it's just so much to talk about. Like, one, watching tarot readings, learning about tarot, reading about tarot, reading about the history of tarot, things like that. Just dipping your toes into the world of tarot itself is a whole obsession, because you got to keep going, right? Once you dip your toes in, it's like you open the door, you can't walk back out of it. At that point, you know what you know. But then then the obsession itself kind of transforms and turns into a personal obsession about what else can I do. It becomes kind of a thing of ego versus guidance and spirituality, right? What am I allowed to know? What else am I allowed to ask? What else can I do? How far can I push these boundaries? And then it also becomes an obsession as a client of, I don't think you're right. I don't think you're telling the truth. I need to seek more guidance, right? Like, doubt will always lead to more guidance. And as humans, it's so easy for us to doubt what we're hearing, whether we're pulling the cards ourselves and seeing them with our own eyes, or we're getting a reading from another person. It could be the most experienced reader in the entire world. It could be a medium getting something straight from the source, and you still won't believe it, because as humans, we doubt everything, because we are conditioned to believe that everyone is lying to us, because on some level, everybody lies, whether it be little white lies or, big lies to keep big secrets, things like that. Everybody lies basically for their own reasons, right? To cover their own ass, to cover their own, mistakes or whatever. But because of the idea of lies, it creates doubt. And because we have that doubt, we like to think we can be sneaky and go around things and try to find ways around it. And, once you start passing tarot specifically, going into witchcraft, you start thinking about protection against divination for these reasons, right? Because you don't know what someone's casting on you by trying to read your cards without your permission, things like that. That's a video for another day. So I just wanted to open up this conversation, a little let's discuss cozy corner type of thing for you guys, because I feel like this is something that I don't see tarot readers talking about. Whenever I see tarot readers on YouTube, they are tarot readers. They are strictly doing readings. They're doing collective readings. And for the most part, I haven't found another channel like mine where someone just sits around and shoots the shit with you guys about tarot. And I know my Let's Discuss videos or my Cozy Corner videos, they don't ever really get much traffic. And that's fine, because this is something that I really want to see out in the world is just people talking about tarot, people shooting the shit about tarot, and any type of divination for that matter. I just want to see people opening up the conversation so that beginners can hear things that they won't get from other people. Because when beginners are asking advice in tarot groups and whatnot, and on videos and everything, there's only so much a person is going to tell them, right? If a beginner comes to someone and says, hey, what advice do you have for me? They're going to say, do XYZ. Okay, go run with it. Bye. Get away from me. And a lot of people don't want to talk about all of these tiny little nuances of things like this, where when you are someone who is on the road to becoming a tarot reader, first of all, let's start with this. When you're on the road to becoming a tarot reader, you have to learn. You have to keep learning. You have to do a lot of learning. You have to practice. You have to do more practice. You have to do a lot of practice. You have to do actual paid readings. You have to do consultations. You have to learn more. You have to get readings on yourself, right? And it's just this thing that you get swept up in so easily because it is something you are pursuing as a hobby or as a profession or as a, tool, whatever it is you're pursuing tarot for, as a reader specifically, it's too easy to get caught in the snowball. And every once in a while, we have to take a break. Everyone needs to take a break. And this is the first time in years, actually, that I've taken a break from just watching tarot. If you can see, I don't know if you can see the reflection of my glasses. I actually was watching one of my videos on the computer, and it started playing a tarot reading, and I don't have the sound on because clearly I'm talking to you, and I'm just watching it because it's on as I'm talking to you. But it's also just one of those things where this is what my algorithm does now. This is what my YouTube is. It's entirely curated just tarot content for me, because not only am I making tarot content, but I ingest so much of it. So I do that because I need content, right? I need to talk to you guys about what tarot readers are out there, or what energies are out there in the void, right? Things like that. New decks, new whatever, what have you. New books, new classes. So like I said, I ingest so much of this specifically for my channel, specifically to teach and show you guys and talk about it. But then on some level, I'm still a human who is listening passively to these types of tarot readings, right? Therefore, I'm still technically getting a whole bunch of tarot readings myself. And I've seen tons and tons of tarot readers talk about this in actual general collective readings, that you can't let yourself get obsessed with getting tarot readings, because it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of being stuck in place. The more you hear other tarot readers saying, he's coming back, he's gonna text you, you have that in your head, he's coming back, which keeps that person stuck in the energy of coming back, which is a whole different argument about, manifestation and all of that. But for those of you guys who are, on this journey, manifestation is a lot about language. So to constantly be hearing from multiple sources, he's coming back, that keeps both of you stuck in the energy of he's coming back, which means you're always waiting, they're always coming, but no one ever gets anywhere, right? And that's why a lot of people, you'll notice in the comments of those videos, will say, oh, this is what every tarot reader says, that he's coming back. This is just, folly for the sake of content. But the issue isn't that it's folly or it's made up or it's something to grab your attention. It's the fact that you're ingesting so much of it that becomes what all your tarot readings are. If you're not getting tarot readings on your career or on your next step, should I pursue this project? Should I do this? What happens if I do this? But you also have to take into account that you need to have fun with tarot every once in a while. I saw a tarot reader on TikTok who was bonding with her deck in such a way that she would tell a story, like a little chisme story, right? Like so-and-so at work said this, this, and this. And as she was telling the story out loud to her tarot deck, she would pull cards in order to see how her tarot deck would narrate the story as she was saying it, so that she could bond with her deck in such a different way, right? So it's important to find fun ways to interact with your deck, but it's also important to do things such as letting your tarot deck roast you, asking questions that you're afraid of. What are my red flags? What emotions am I holding on to? What things am I not letting go? What's going to happen if I don't do X, Y, and Z? Things like that, right? Just so that you can get different energy into your tarot deck. You need to be very well-rounded as a tarot reader and understand that not all questions should look the same, right? Not all readings should be, he's coming back, because if you're constantly in that energy of holding on to somebody, waiting for them to come back, clearly that's what all your readings are going to reflect. So you're going to think that that's all that tarot is just a whole bunch of people telling me he's coming back just so that I'll watch their content. It has nothing to do with anything, right? It's neither here nor there. It's just about the energy that you're stuck in, because that's what you're holding on to, right? That's the part of the reading that you listen to. And when I give readings for clients, I will tell them, listen to this reading as many times as you need, because you will hear different things at different times within the reading, right? At first listen, you might only hear, he's coming back, because that's what you want to hear, right? Or that's what you expect to hear. You go into tarot readings with that type of thing in your head, so that's what you hear the loudest the first time, because that's what you are anticipating. So when you drop that expectation and you hear it, right? You get it out of your head, you hear it, you drop it, go in another time, you listen again, you're going to hear something else about your career, or you're going to hear something else about a job offer, or you're going to hear something else about a loved one. Like you hear different things at different times. You're going to hear the message that you need to hear when you need to hear it. But when you are constantly ingesting tarot content and you start realizing you're hearing the same thing over and over and over, it's because of you. And I'm not trying to victim blame here or anything. This is genuine. This happens to me all the time, where all my tarot readings start sounding the same. And, given, yes, it could be about the energies and the astrology and all of the things, right? The astrology brings a certain energy with it. But at the same time, your energy that you're putting into the reading itself is still going to contribute to the actual outcome of the reading itself. So I really, really, really love thinking about this all the time, about just tarot obsession, because hello, I'm a tarot reader. I'm obsessed with tarot. I ingest tarot content nonstop. And I know the word obsession seems big and scary, right? And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get lost in tarot. And it really has nothing to do with you getting lost in tarot. It's more so you trying to find a way to, one, realize it, right? As with anything, admitting you have a problem is the first step. Jokingly, but I'm serious. Realizing that, one, your readings are starting to sound the same, or two, you're starting to expect certain things out of your tarot readings, right? I see this all the time. I see tarot readers fall down this hole all the time, where they start to say things like, I don't want that card, and they put it back, and they go, give me the card I want. Give me the answer I'm looking for. That's not right. You have to interpret the cards as they are, as they come out. There's a reason that they came out the way that they did. You are not controlling the cards as a tarot reader. You are subject entirely to the chance of these cards coming out the way that they do, and the messages that Spirit is providing you through them, right? A lot of people think they have the control over what comes out, because there are parlor tricks in which you can control what comes out of the deck. Again, different conversation for a different day. But I love talking to beginners about this, because it's so important. It's so important, and nobody talks about it, because it's just one of those things that you have to get into it to find out about, and nobody wants to talk about it, right? Because nobody wants to admit that they are stuck in the loop of obsession within something such as divination. What a weird thing to tell people, right? I'm fucking obsessed with watching tarot readings. Like, if you were to say I'm obsessed with the Real Housewives, everybody's gonna be like, oh my god, me too, I went through that last year. Like, it's nothing, right? But to say I'm obsessed with watching tarot readings, that's a whole different thing. People are gonna be like, the fuck did you just say? right? It's a whole different thing in society. So unless you have a whole group of friends that are tarot readers themselves, no one's really going to understand what you're talking about. As much as I could go on about this forever, to be completely honest, I don't even know anymore what I have said and what more I could say, because there's just so much I could talk about this, to be completely honest. So I just really wanted to get this here out, to get the discussion going. I really want to, like, that's the whole point of my discussion videos, is because I just want to get the discussion started. I just want you guys to know there are things you can discuss within tarot outside of tarot meanings, outside of tarot imagery, outside of deck reviews, right? There are things that can be discussed about tarot, about reading tarot, about tarot readings, about tarot content, about the history of tarot, right? There are things that we can discuss. So I wanted to give you guys a fun little palette cleanser here at the end, because I know that was a lot of talking for like 30 minutes. I do apologize, but I love, love, love talking about this. No one ever wants to talk about it with me. I've brought this up in, Facebook groups many times. I've brought this up to my friends many times. And again, people look at me like I have 6 heads because I see the world differently. So, palette cleanser. I'm going to show you guys a little video of me asking my tarot deck to roast me, because I feel like it's important every once in a while to humble yourself. Because as much as I personally love myself, I could always stand a little bit of humbling. That doesn't come from someone else with, a vengeance, right? So here's that TikTok. Y'all know I love a good tarot challenge. I have like a random list on my wall of tarot challenges for, making videos every once in a while. And one of them is let your tarot deck roast you. So let's do it. I got Loki's deck here, because what deck better to roast me than Loki's deck? So I'm not going to ask Loki specifically, although it is Loki's deck. This is supposed to be let your tarot deck roast you. So let's see what the tarot deck thinks. I'm just going to leave it open. Just let it roast me. Let's see. Hold on. Let me speed this. Hold on. I'm going to stop right there, because that was like a lot. I can't. Like I said, who better to roast me? First one that came out that I laughed at was this one. I literally heard, first of all, you're fucking blind. I'm fucking dead. This is so much, dude. There's like 8 cards over here. Wow, okay. So, yeah, I ain't got money. It doesn't take a fucking genius to figure that one out. I don't like change. I don't like starting over. Very well aware of that. Stuck in place. I tell you guys this all the time. I always feel like I'm fucking stuck in place. I can't. This is, you gotta, with these situations, you gotta kind of take the negatives of the card itself. This one is specifically in context of these ones. It's being stubborn about not wanting change, not wanting to move forward, not wanting to do anything. Hermit reversed. Sometimes I don't want to go within. As much wisdom as I have for others, I don't have it for myself, right? I don't hold that compassion for myself. In love with myself. I literally just posted a video saying I was in love with myself, forever in love with myself. And no patience. That's no brainer. I'm fucking human. I'm working on it. All right. It's hard. I turn away a lot of offers too. I'm, I don't want to say scared of romance. I know what I want. I'm very particular, so I do push away a lot, but this is funny. This is very specifically, also like fiery, too hot-headed, right? And then forever heartbroken. I'm in love with pain and darkness and, all the wah dark girl stuff. This was fun. Try it out. I love finding new tarot challenges. I do. I love it. I love it. I love it. And that is honestly why I love being on TikTok so much. Again, because my algorithm has been curated to tarot content for the most part. So I find a lot of these types of tarot challenges on TikTok, things that I would have never in a million years even thought to ask my deck, right? Just amazing stuff from amazing creators. I don't know even where to begin about tarot content creators, because there are some really good ones and there are some not so good ones, as with everything, right? But at least the ones that are in my world, in my personal little algorithm, I love it. I learn a lot from them, and it really makes me go outside of my comfort zone as a tarot reader, because not only am I reading for clients, right, or reading to teach, or all these things for my channel, but at the end of the day, I'm reading for myself too, because I don't even know who to go to for tarot readings. That's funny, right? As a tarot reader, I don't have a tarot reader friend that reads for me. I don't know how to allow myself to get readings without criticizing them as a reader, right? It's very hard for me. So I just kind of read for myself. I videotape my readings and I watch it back as a client, and not only do I look at it as a client, but I look at it as, my guidance from a different tarot reader. It's kind of weird, it's kind of meta, but it is what it is. But I really wanted to talk about this with you guys. I got the itch to have a little discussion video to break up the monotony of reviews and everything, because I do have a little clump of reviews that I recorded all at the same time. I didn't want to put only review videos out at the same time. It's starting to irk me to see a big block of reviews on my channel. Reviews are important, but they shouldn't be the bulk of what my channel is, right? I don't want you guys to just kind of stop watching because I've become a review channel. That's not ever the purpose of my channel. That's not what I intended it to be ever. So for those of you guys who made it to the end, please give me a big old thumbs up. That helps me out so very much. Lets me know that you watched this video all the way through, and it helps YouTube know that you enjoy my content, and it will help get the word out to other people. If it behooves you, you guys already know my link tree's down in the description box with all of my socials and whatnot. You guys can always watch my channel by playlist. I feel like a lot of people don't know that, and I don't talk about it much anymore, but I do group every video on my channel into a playlist for you guys, so that if you ever feel like you want to binge watch some of my content, you can do so in playlist fashion. If you guys are not already following me on TikTok, please go do so. I'm not the type of creator to ask, but if you have been watching a lot of my content and you are not already subscribed, please, please, please consider doing so, because I am so very close to 2,000 subs, which is absolutely incredible, and that just gets me to my next milestone, which is going to be 5,000 subs. I do apologize, I got interrupted before I got to finish my outro, but anyways, I'm so super grateful for all of you guys. Thank you so much for interacting on all of my videos. Thank you for all the subs, likes, comments, all that fun stuff. You guys already know I am so super grateful every single day for everything, as far as we've come together here. With that being said, thank you so much, you guys. I hope that you have a beautiful, wonderful day wherever you are when this video reaches you, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Blessed be.